to SME Arena. Here we talk about small and medium enterprise. We talk about the challenges they face. We talk about the success stories. We talk about everything relating to small and medium enterprise. Today I have with me a lawyer, a consultant, and the executive director of Innovation Matters. I have with me Dede Kadiri. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's start. SMEs, we know that one of the challenges they have is government funding.
Yeah.
And you've helped a lot of people to, start up their businesses. You've had your input in a lot of businesses. So what would you say is the major challenge of small and medium enterprise?
I think it's getting the enabling environment to thrive. Nigerians are known to be very enterprising. You look at it, you see it everywhere. Along the streets, the woman who makes a camel puts it on a tray and she goes out marketing, trying to sell her products. So every single person in this country has that enterprising spirit. However, the challenge is the enabling environment to grow and thrive. Now, you have issues with taxation. You rent a shop and they are constantly at your gate. I have a friend who spoke to me recently and said her business has shut down. An innovative idea. And why did it shut down? Because, at the point of growth, government found her and came after her. Tax here, do this, do that. She couldn't pay her staff before she shut down. So, it's not just the funding, it's how you utilize the funding so that you are able to meet, the challenges you have as you grow your business. And government isn't available to provide that.
Okay, so how do you think government can now come into this?
Okay, first of all, we need to create environments for small businesses to be nurtured. I know we have pockets of centers already in Lagos, especially, that nurtures innovative ideas. However, government needs to provide a space where, first of all, there are tax costs extensive for people to start up. They need access to knowing the skills, a center for training on business skills. They need access to understanding how to employ and how to retain. And people need access to know how to engage with financial institutions like banks. What am I? So we need that level of transparency. It's clear. I want to start a business. I have this idea. Internationally, you have, it's in some countries, actually, I don't often like to compare to other countries, but in some countries, I think it's a good idea when the local governments provide this space for small businesses to start and space to give you ideas or advice or counseling on the next step you need to take. So you say, Dede, you've grown up to this point. That's great. Now you need this. So often people find themselves alone. And if government will provide this space, not just in the local governments, but also with other business partners, so that they can provide nurturing for especially the younger people.
Let's look at, for instance, now, people that are involved in making some certain products, say those that fry chin and, pack them into small bits, those that make liquid soaps and all those things. Now, and then all of a sudden you see our agency, some of our agencies coming to meet these people, agencies like NAFDAC, for instance, come to meet them and say, oh, you have to register this, you have to register. Now, such actions, don't you think they actually kick or have a way of curbing the SMEs from actually, being utilized or reaching their potentials?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So rather than enable growth, they cause them to shrink. And, by the way, not just shrinking, going underground. I conducted a research some time ago. This is for the NGO community, innovative ideas about making people thrive in Nigeria, especially government. And found that about 50% of them were not registered. Now, if you go, we just take a sample size, just step out, to a major street and then we sample small businesses and ask them how many of you are registered. And why not? Because they don't want to be found. So government needs to ask themselves the question, so what are we doing that is causing people to shrink or to operate below the radar. So NAFDAC, yes, is well intentioned. The approach also matters. You know, government, we need a well coordinated, multi-sectoral approach to supporting small business. So it's not just, you leave it to one government institution and say, okay, one person is saying CAC, you must get your CAC forms, and then another is saying, then you must pay for NAFDAC registration. This is the amount, 75K, wham, for someone who is just starting with 5. So these kind of things cause people to shrink. And there are multiple examples of how this is. Now, the solution is a multi-sectoral approach. How do you bring all the interested stakeholders together to enable? So this drive for revenue is another thing that slows down businesses. This one is drive. I'll give you a story.
Before you go with the story, let's on a quick break and we'll be right back. It's still SME Arena. Alrighty, welcome back. It's still SME Arena. Before we went on the break, she was about to tell us a story. So go ahead, ma'am.
Oh yeah, I have a friend who was crazy about agriculture and invested heavily in beans production. And his intention was to export. Spend a lot of expenses trying to get buyers from abroad, and he did. And what did he on his harvest? He packaged it fantastic work and took it to the port for export. And that's where his beans got stuck. Now, by the time he had gone through the processes, they were spoiled. And by the time he still exported it, of course, and it was rejected. So he lost a lot of money. As we speak, he's relocated. He's left Nigeria. Now, that's an example of government institutions frustrating an initiative. So that's why I said it's not just, he may have gotten a loan. Who knows? Maybe some government institutions supported him. Maybe CBN, maybe Bank of Industry. But without working with the ports, it's futile. So you need a concerted action, to make sure that, businesses thrive.
Okay, all right, I understand that you help small business SMEs. Basically, you facilitate loans and stuff. How can people have access to this thing?
Okay, first of all, you have to put your house in order. So you just don't take a loan for the sake of taking a loan. You must have, understand at what point your business has grown. There must be track record. There must be evidence. And it's only then we start to, I start to engage with people. Now, once that is done, then we identify the best options in terms of interest rates and options that will provide you a support structure as well to grow. Not, what would we call them? Someone who comes and knock, and then there also has to be integrity. So, how can you pay? How can payment be automated so that it's easier for both parties, the loanee and the beneficiary, to utilize that loan.
So it has to be like an accountable. You have to have had a level of accountability. So
absolutely. And then afterwards, how do you track the impact? For me, that's so important. Because it's the story of it will help the growth of your company and attract even bigger investors, to what you do, because it shows, like you say, accountability. It shows evidence, and then it's also a marketing opportunity for you.
Okay. All right. So let's go into innovation matters. I understand you have a project you're working on now.
Oh yes, absolutely. So innovation matters by its name. We engage in all kinds of innovation that will support institutions in government and individuals as well as organizations. Now, our latest innovation, if you like, is working in the fashion industry. It's called Shakara Fab. Now, the key thing here is that we have the fashion industry in Nigeria is a multi-billion-dollar industry that is yet to be harnessed. And based on our studies, we find out what's missing really is the coordination of it. So just Google, for example, Nigerian women all you see is fashion. All you see is fashion. Beautiful stuff. Now try to buy that. Now the marketplace is not accessible. And this idea had been in the cooler for some years. Nobody's done it, so why don't I just do it? So we've created through Shakara Fab a marketplace, a platform for designers to showcase their talents and sell. Amazing stuff. Because we find that every time it's still under construction and it's going to be launched December 1st. Now, the talent we've noticed the moment we launch, every time we are, testing the site, the movement to the site from people from Europe and especially, people of African descent, aged between 18 to 45. It's amazing. So there's a huge demand for African apparel and beyond that, African culture. So there's still a mystery around African culture because it's not easily accessible. So if you were to have an accessory for your iPad, an African Adire accessory, where would you get it? You probably ask someone to make it for you. So for people who have these talents, we want to provide a platform where they can showcase and sell. In this way, we'll be drawing the world to Nigeria. We'll be showing what we have and what we can do. And we'll make it available. You and I wear English clothes. We see it, we buy it, we like it. Yeah.
White, those abroad, you see them once in a while, with our Ankara, doing a lot of fabulous things with it.
And how do they get it? So we want to make it easily accessible to people globally. We are Nigerians and we love to be Nigerians.
All over the world.
Yes. So why not?
All right, Ma. So what advice do you have to people, people with businesses that are starting off? Some are at the verge of giving up. Some are just, stuck. Yeah. So what would you say?
I'll say don't stop. I mean, there will always be challenges. We just have to surpass them. Like I say to my kids, it just makes you better. So don't stop. It's a slow turning wheel, but at some point you'll break even. So whatever it is, keep going.
All right. Thank you very much, Ma.
Yeah.
That has been Dede Kadiri. She's the Executive Director of Innovation Matters, and she's been involved in a lot of small and medium enterprise, and she's given us her word. So she says, don't stop. So don't stop. Join us again next time on SME Arena. I am Moyo Lania.